Welcome to Just Break Up, the Patreon edition. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we are going to talk about pining, I guess. Radio silence, being ghosted, all the fun things that can happen to a person.
Good. So we're going to answer a letter. But first, we were going to do a check-in topic, but we couldn't land on anything. So I was like, I'll just ask you, how you doing? Like, how you doing, Sam? How's your week going?
How are you doing?
Yeah.
It's good. My nephew just turned 14 recently, which is just wild.
Oh my God.
Because
he looks like a registered voter. He looks so old.
He absolutely does. And it's just weird to have a nephew that's 14 because in my head he's like 7 all the time and like will never be older. But
yeah,
it's so strange. So
yeah,
he had a birthday party that I couldn't go to because I was out of town. But they ordered KFC, I think was the thing that he wanted to do.
Cute.
So that's what they
that's
did.
That's cute. Yeah. Aw. Cool. We are
in
the midst of planning my daughter's first birthday party in April.
Can't believe it.
Yeah. I was like, man, I'm not going to throw a big birthday party for a 1-year-old. Like, she's not going to remember it. Meanwhile, 30 people are coming to my house. We're ordering a cake.
Love it.
Yeah. It's
There's
just
be all sorts
immediate
of
family and all. Willow's in charge of the decorations, so there's probably going to be some branches like taped to the wall. Or some like recycled balloons.
I love it. Leaf art. Found objects.
Exactly. I am going to do one crunchy mom thing, which is I'm going to make her, my sister-in-law is buying us a cake. Like she's gifting us a cake for the party. But I'm going to make Temple her own like sugar-free birthday cake. Cause I'm listen, I love sugar. I have a wicked sweet tooth. I love a balanced diet filled with sweets. But I'm trying to like hold off on that really picky toddler food eating stage. So I'm trying to limit the amount of sugar she gets in her first couple years of life,
Sure.
And she doesn't know the difference. She's a literal baby. So like if I feed her a cake made with applesauce versus, powdered sugar, she's not going to know the difference.
Very true. I had a friend who whose like parents like never let him have like sugar in anything, like no sugary cereal, no like orange juice or anything, and he like went to college and drank so much orange juice that he had like 12 cavities because he was like, sugar, what is
I'm not
this?
That's a good reminder. I'm not gonna do that because honestly I probably couldn't. Like Temple is gonna see me eat. We have a bag of Reese's in our house that Willow gives to me, like rewards me with.
That's cute. I do that with my cat. Yeah.
Yeah. She has them hidden so that I don't eat all of them. And she's going to see me doing that. I want to like get ice cream and have cake. And I love food, and I love food as a special thing, as something to be celebrated. So like, I'm not going to deny my kid birthday cake for the rest of her life. Just this first birthday, I'm going to make her like a crunchy little cake. Now I'm afraid that I'm going to come off as like an elitist.
Especially when it's like, it's easier if a 2-year-old doesn't know what cake is. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to do is like, I'm trying to make sure her palate is diverse. And because if she has a choice between choosing goldfish that taste the same and look the same and smell the same and blueberries that are different, every single blueberry, like she's already going to be naturally picky, like we all are. All right, I'm off on a tangent now. But I'm going to make my kid a crunchy little cake. Judge me all you want.
It's very on brand for you.
Fuck you. I am the kid who went to college without eating sugar. Like, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway.
He just had so many cavities. The
God.
dentist was like, how much orange juice are you drinking?
Did you know that talking about trauma, did you know that cavities are like largely genetic too?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You just kind of have bad teeth or like, not bad teeth, but like teeth that are prone to cavities or teeth that are not prone to cavities.
I have to fix that language too. Yep. That is frustrating to me too, because like, do you know how much personal shame I carry around about having quote bad teeth that get cavities? Like,
For sure.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's from the years I didn't floss, or it's, all those drunk nights that I just fell asleep. When in reality, it's probably just like my or like skin, I'm on the other side of the skin thing. I think I have great skin and I do next to nothing. What's next to nothing is bad things, which is like I fall asleep with makeup on. I don't wash it every day. You know what I mean? Like I moisturize sometimes,
No,
just
absolutely.
genetics, man.
I have a friend who has like dazzling white, perfectly straight teeth. And she's like, every one of these teeth has like gotten a cavity at some point because they look great, but inside they're rotten. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Anyway, let's get into this letter.
Tangent. This is the type of episode I want to have, but you got to rectify me and get a letter going. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So this letter comes from...
I haven't socialized like all week, just so you know. You're like the only other adult I've spoken to other than my wife.
You and Temple, just like all the time. And it's like...
You think I'm joking. You think I believe you. I went to the dermatologist this morning and she's like scanning my skin with a little...
She's like, stop falling asleep with your makeup on.
No. She's like scanning my skin with her little flashlight, and I'm like, please don't stop touching me. Adult contact, like non-sexual adult intimacy. Anyway.
I'm into it.
I'm fine.
All right.
I'm fine.
This letter comes from Still Pining, whose pronouns are she, hers, who is writing from Thoughts I Can't Escape From. Hi, beautiful JBU team. I can't verbalize what your show has done for me in my self-growth journey. I actually found your show while in the midst of a mess of a relationship and refused to listen for fear that you would tell me exactly what I knew, which is that we had to just break up. Anyway, that former relationship is not the one I'm writing to you about today. Context to set the scene. Just under a year ago, I met and fell head over heels for the most wonderful man, him. We had talked casually on the internet, not a dating app, before eventually meeting in person. From following his content, I knew quite a bit about him prior to finally meeting. The night we met, I swear there were fireworks when we shook hands, but nothing came to fruition immediately. Fast forward a couple of months, and we are talking way more often, as well as a bit of casual flirting. He lives about 3 hours away, but finally asked if he could take me out on a date when he was in town next. I was thrilled, and the flirting went from casual to magical very quickly, like some of the most beautiful things anyone has ever said to me. Example, even 1 second with you is a lifetime more than I feel I deserve. Like, hello? Before we even had our date, we realized we were on the same page and declared it a relationship in late April, early May. We go on our date, and things are wonderful. As we move into the relationship, he treated me well, validated my feelings and fears. We had tough conversations about our futures and what we wanted, and it was all just easy for a bit. As things progressed over the next few months, he pulls back significantly. I tried having conversations about it, but I got a lot of "I'm busy" type answers. And of course, the distance didn't help the circumstances. He did mention feeling like we were moving too fast, and we took initial steps to slow things down. This whole time I had been following his lead and going with the flow, but he seemed to realize he was in over his head. I'm sure you can guess that he has an avoidant attachment style, and I had an anxious one. Why are we like this? And as you can probably figure out by now, he ended things. This was in late July. He said he cared about me a lot and wanted to give me everything that I deserve, but that he wasn't capable of that at that point in time. I appreciated his honesty and not wanting to lead me on, but goddamn, it hurt so bad. We kept minimal contact, but didn't talk much for the most part. Maybe an occasional Snapchat or Insta DM of a meme, rarely a text, but the conversation never exceeded 2 or 3 exchanges. Then, February 14th, the bane of a single person's existence. And he texts me. No, we hadn't spoken in over a month at the time. Not only does the second message state him wanting me to, quote, accompany him to some local events in his town, but we talk for over an hour. The next morning, I wake up to a text from him continuing the conversation I thought we had let fizzle the previous night at like 5 p.m., and we talk a bit more. The morning after, another message. We start Snapchatting more. He starts watching my stories again, and then, you guessed it, radio silence. My question isn't, should we get back together? I know our attachment styles clash. I know he's demonstrating patterns of his style. My question is, how do I get my dumb heart to stop longing and pining for him back? I've cut back on social media significantly, but when I do go on, I actively avoid watching his stories and even muted him on Twitter for a while, hoping that out of sight, out of mind would be a good tactic. It wasn't. I was doing okay trying to get over him, not really succeeding, and then that Valentine's Day text brought me a plethora of new questions. All of my thoughts are full of, he wants to try again, even though I know that that's not likely. But come on, who sends their ex a message about accompany them on Valentine's Day? Am I really supposed to believe that there was nothing more to that? Is he just that oblivious? I'm so confused and my heart wants him back so deeply. I've never felt more cared for, admired, and, although we never officially said it, loved. How do we move on from someone we thought was so perfect for us? Even worse, how do I try and date again when I've never experienced a person like him before? The way he treated me is the only way I want to be treated now, which isn't bad, just hard to find. This was so long and messy, but thank you for taking the time to read. Any tough love, thoughts, musings, guidance, or affirmation would be very welcomed right about now. Thank you for all that you do in helping us all to feel a little less uniquely fucked up. All my love, Pining.
Oh, Pining, thank you so much for submitting this question, for trusting us with it, and for supporting us here on Patreon and making it through that rambling intro. I feel for you because I remember what it was like to be broken up with by my most recent significant other before my wife. And he had an avoidant attachment style, and he had a history of love bombing and of making me feel really loved and cherished and it was intoxicating. And I don't use that word flippantly. I think that it felt so good to be loved by him because he made me feel special. He made me feel like it was different. And recently I was actually reading, I was looking for an old text in my phone from somebody else. And so I was scrolling back for a couple of years, and I saw some texts that I had sent my friend around the same time that this guy had broken up with me. And I was startled in this lifetime, because it feels like a different lifetime. I was startled to read what I wrote, because it was like a series of texts, basically me saying to my friend, I can't believe he broke up with me. I feel so devastated. I feel this in my bones. I can't believe it. I can't imagine going on. I don't want to do this again. And then, she texted me back and forth, and a couple texts later, I was I'm starting to see that he did us a favor. It still hurts so much, but I'm starting to see that we were never who I thought we were. We were never the good love that we were both reaching for. We were reaching for this good, pure love, this sustaining love, but we were never that. We were always some sort of friction or some sort of, the bottom was always missing, is what I'm saying. There's no foundation to stand on. And sure. In a matter of a week or something during that grieving process, I started to see a way past this breakup, but it was only a little, it was only a sliver. Mm. And I share this for a couple of reasons. One, just I know you're in it. I know you're in that pain right now, and that you can't see a time or a place beyond it, but it will happen. That door will open crack by crack. And I also share it to highlight that part of your grieving process is going to have to be coming to terms with the fact that this was the whole picture, that it's not just what you were striving for. It's not just the good days. It's not just those singular words that he said to you in your first date or whatever, or the time that he made you feel so wholly good. It was also the times that he abandoned you and the times in which he chose things that were not your union or your partnership. And part of the grieving process has to be saying, I know this hurts, but I'm going to look at the full picture. I know this hurts and I know I want him, but I'm also going to take like a very specific inventory of what did and did not happen in this relationship. And that's truly how I started the healing process of that relationship, is that I started trying to be like unapologetically honest with myself about what it was that I was pining so much for. I was pining for the idea, the potential of that relationship, what we were working for, not the actual work itself.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that Sierra's absolutely right that the full autopsy of this relationship.
Ooh, great word. Great word. Phenomenal word choice.
Isn't just that everything was perfect until it wasn't, right? It seems to me that this man was very good at play acting what it looks like to give people love, to give people attention, right? Like the things that you talk about as being the most magical for you were stuff that happened before you even met each other, right? And then like once the relationship was established, then it was 2 months of him continuing to pull away over time. So I want to just like put this in the full context of this, right? Like it's really easy from the outside to look at love bombing and be like, what the fuck? Like this, how could you not see that this is like this is like all he did was say nice things to you at the beginning of your relationship and then continued to treat you poorly as time went on, right? Like, and more poorly as time goes on. But it is really hard when you're in the love bombing, when you are being love bombed, to like see outside of how good it feels when someone turns their full attention on you, right? Like there is like nothing else in the world when somebody who you think is really cute and you are excited about suddenly looks at you with their full face and like just like completely envelops you in their attention. Like there is nothing like it. And it is, like Sierra said, it's intoxicating, right? And intoxicating is a great word because it absolutely makes us feel really good, but it also like hampers our ability to process through things, right?
It's such a hangover,
Right? Oh, it's such a hangover. And we're like, what the fuck? How did this happen? Things were so good. We were having so much fun last night. And now I'm like in the midst of this, like this hell. And it seems like the only thing that can get me out of this feeling is to go back to that beautiful intoxication by this person. And guess what? You got it again. You got that attention. And then what happens, right? Another hangover, like, right? Another moment of being like, oh, this fucking sucks. How did we get here? And so I think that the way that we can move out of pining or just like longing for this person is, first of all, to acknowledge like, it's okay to be pining after this person, right? There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken for getting this love and attention and wanting it back, right? That's deeply understandable. But I also think to remind ourselves of the full scope of what was happening in this relationship, the beautiful intoxication of the way that this person was treating you and the hangover, and see that both of those things were him. They were not, the hangover was not apart from him. It was not something separate from your experience with him. It was an integral part of it. And so can you spend more time remembering that, yeah, it felt really good when he said that shit to me, but then when push came to shove, when it was actually about enacting the things that he was saying, he couldn't deliver. And it just left me in this horrible, horrible lurch, right? And I don't know why he's doing these things. People get lonely on Valentine's Day. Like, let me just say that out loud, right? Like, people who are single, even if they have avoidant attachment styles, still get lonely on Valentine's Day. And so I don't know that it means anything besides just the fact that he was lonely. And I'm not saying that to like make you feel bad. I'm saying that because I want to speak truth to this moment where you're sort of reading into all of this stuff. because I want you to have a different understanding of this so that it's not just, oh, he secretly loves me. I can secretly get back all that love and attention that's been denied me, because that is not actually an option here. You can't get the love and attention without the hangover in this relationship. It might be different with someone else, but in this relationship, that's not available to you. That's the only thing that he is capable of.
Well, and I want to, thinking about my ex and the work that we've done on this podcast, like, I understand that man so much better now that I look at him through this perspective of an avoidant attachment style, not, oh my God, he is running from the good thing that is Sierra Mulder.
I mean, and that's why
doesn't he accept my love?
that was very true.
No. But more so to humanize him a little bit, but also it works in two ways. What I'm about to say humanizes him and also paints even clearer the understanding that this is like a underdeveloped love that's not going to like serve me. It's not going to keep me full, Right. And the statement is like that he wants and wanted to be in a sustaining, healthy, loving relationship. He wanted the connection, but was unable to sustain it because of whatever wound or preferences or nightly proclivities that he would do with his coworkers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. We're really getting into it.
No, I'm just kidding.
Are we going to talk about the recent development?
No. I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about him cheating with me without like calling, slut shaming him, because it's not that. And I don't care about that. I want to say like whorish proclivities, but like, I don't have sure. any problems with whores. So, or sex workers. So, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, in better understanding and avoidant attachment styles and the way in which that attachment style tends to, like, you could probably say this better than me, but like mask, like they put on the mask of the relationship because they know that they want that connection, or they think that they should have an intimate relationship, or whatever it is. And so it leads them to sort of like, pretending. How would you describe what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think that for folks who have avoidant attachment styles, the feeling is that like, the feelings are really there, right? Like the initial like, oh, this person, like I really want to be with them. But then the part that becomes scary is it's harder to do actual work in the relationship than just to like love bomb people, right? Or like just to tell people, oh, this is so great. You're so wonderful. I'm so wonderful. We're going to be together forever. Like it's going to be super great. And then the actual work of it requires vulnerability, requires folks to expose the things where they are weak, and it feels really dangerous. Like that's how it feels to an avoidant attachment style person. It feels unsafe to be that vulnerable with people. And so what comes out is a distance. Oh, I can't give you everything that you want. Like you're so demanding. You're going to take too much out of me. And I'm really afraid of that. So I'm going to pull back and say, oh, I can't give you what you want, but I still want to be with you, right? Like, or at least I want to be, I want the love. I want the affection. I want to be attached.
Yes, take the person out of it. Yeah.
Right. And so how that turns out is that then, oh God, I'm lonely on Valentine's Day. Well, I'll reach out to this person and talk to them and get the fix that I need, right? Like be like, oh, I just wish this would have worked out. And then once it comes to how do we sustain a relationship and sustain a conversation, then it's like, oh, I don't have time for this, right? I can't make this happen. So yeah, I think it's sad that this is what happens for folks who are avoidantly attached. And we get letters from folks who are avoidantly attached and say like, why do I keep doing this? Right. In the same way that we get letters from, from folks who are anxiously attached.
Why am I clinging?
Well, absolutely. Why am I so obsessed with this person who treated me like shit? Right. Like, and it's because of our brain chemistry. It's because of like the learned patterns that we have. And so I have a lot of empathy for folks with all different attachment styles, right? They can be good and challenging in different ways. And I also want to say that like I can have empathy for those folks and still look at their behavior and say like, this is unacceptable. And I want you to look at this, the full spectrum of this person's behavior, and recognize that like the reaching out, the wanting to come back into your life is just part of the same pattern of this person. And what might be helpful is to even like distance the attachment style from the person, right? To say like, oh, this, I'm so upset about the fact that this attachment style is here. And I'm so sad that it's getting in the way of me being with somebody who could be really good. But without saying that like, oh, but for this attachment style, we would be together, right? Like if only this wasn't a thing, because it is part of him. He's going to be operating this way forever until he doesn't. But like you can't fix him. Like that's just going to be the way that he operates. I
think I brought that. Thank you for articulating that a little bit better than me. But it was a way for me to unpack like. It was so confusing. My ex would be like, I want to marry you. You're my dream woman, he would say all these really big things, and then he would cheat on me or break up with me or do something that was like in direct opposition of those things. And it was like, what is real? Like it was so deregulating, or unregulating.
But here, the thing is that like, they were both real to him. Right? Like that's what I want to touch on is to our letter writer.
It's you are not responsible for like polishing the shit to match the shine, right? You are responsible.
I would love that.
Put
that on a t-shirt.
Put it in a poem. You are responsible for saying, I see your best. I see everything that you're working with, and not saying, oh, but I love you anyway. Oh, I'll accept, this. I'll accept this really bizarre treatment of just disappearing. But instead saying like, I see you as a full human who is bringing their best, and their best is not good enough. It's consistent and it's not good enough for me. Sam is right. Like, I hope that this doesn't convince you to like, be like, oh, well, there's a secure person underneath his avoidantly attached self. Well, that might be true of all of us if we could just like magically heal all of our wounds and brain chemistry and fucking have a good day at the same time. I think it just like, for me, it helped me understand that my ex did love me, and he also meant everything that he did. He meant his love, but he meant his inaction, disappearing, cheating, breaking up with, you know what I mean? Like that. I don't know.
Sure.
It was just a more full picture for me.
Yeah. And as a person who's like recovering from an avoidant attachment style, I am surprised that you find this behavior surprising, right? Or that you like can't understand it, because it's like deeply understandable to me. And if you ask any of the people that I casually dated between the ages of like 24 and 28, they would probably say really similar things happened to them from from me, right? Like this idea of like, oh, we were texting all day, every day, and then like suddenly he just like stopped responding. Like that is how I operated as somebody who had an avoidant attachment style. And it wasn't because I didn't like the person, right? And it wasn't because it was because I was like very much incapable of being able to maintain a relationship with somebody, and would like come back into people's DMs like 6 months after we dated and be like, oh my God, how are you? I miss you. And then like not respond like 3 months, like 3 conversations later, right? Like all of this feels so familiar to me. And I think that's probably why I'm just like, I am so sort of like brass tacks about all of this, because like, I don't want you to read into anything that this person is doing, because this person is not doing anything that's worth reading into, right? Like this person is just acting out of like the instinct that people who are avoidantly attached have, which is to like find short bursts of attachment and then run away because it's scary. So like the fact that he keeps doing this to you or has done this to you makes a ton of sense to me. And I want you to see the fullness of that, to see that that is not an aberration of his like love for you. It is part and parcel of it. His attachment to you is part of it is going to always be the immediate retreat away. Unless he does a lot of work to sort of work through that attachment style and begin to behave differently, which like people who are avoidant are capable of. But like, that's not your job. And this pining that you're experiencing for him is for somebody who doesn't exist, because he is not separate from the way that he's behaving in this moment. And I can tell you that 100% as somebody who in my 20s was not a great person to date and did very similar shit to this, right? And I was not capable of doing something different until I decided that I needed to do something different. Doesn't sound like he's at that point in his life, and you can't force him to be in that point in his life.
What is it when you're both? When you're disorganized? Is it a disorganized attachment? Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Who knows? I'll Google it when we're done. Anyway, my darling, I know that this is a really sticky place, but like I said at the beginning, it's going to get a little bit less sticky every day. I mean, if you think about it, in a year from now, you're going to look back at this time and say, wow, I can't believe a year has passed. Those feelings feel so real or so far away, or, you know, time is our greatest gift when it comes to healing. But we know you're in the thick of it now. And we hope that these words give you a little bit of strength to move through this very uncomfortable time. We love you.
Thank you so much for writing and for supporting us on Patreon.
Right. If you want to hang out with Sam and I, we are going to be doing a Just Break Up office hours on Tuesday, March 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can join this like community Zoom live Q&A by subscribing either at the $10 level or any of the levels annually. You will get a link to the, I'll post a link to the Zoom. I think I've been doing it like 30 minutes beforehand, and then I've been sending it out to everybody. So you can always find it somewhere on Patreon 30 minutes before. But these are really fun, and it's a great way to support Sam, Spencer, and I, and the work that we do, and connect with other people. We've been raving about them for the past couple months. But yeah, they're great. Tuesday, March 28th. We will see you then. And remember, it's okay to pine. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to want someone who doesn't want you back. That is a part of our humanness. It's a particularly tender part, but it is there, you know, nonetheless. But it's a great time to be tender on yourself, to be gentle, to surround yourself by people who acknowledge your humanness, who treat you gently. And remember, it's you're not going to heal what hurts by going back to what hurt you. This is a great time to set up some new boundaries and to put some space between you and that thing that you are pining after. They're not the answer. And if all else fails,
just break up.